Hello, everyone. Welcome to Celsius 233, your go-to place for fiction book summaries. Today, we will get lost in the pages of Life of Pi by Yann Martel. Life of Pi, written by Yann Martel and published in 2001, is a philosophical adventure novel that explores survival, faith, and the nature of storytelling. The book follows Pi Patel, a teenage boy from India, who finds himself stranded in the Pacific Ocean on a lifeboat with an adult Bengal tiger named Richard Parker. As he struggles to survive, Pi navigates the complexities of human instinct, spirituality, and the power of imagination. The novel won the Man Booker Prize for Fiction and became an internationally acclaimed bestseller. Plot summary: the cargo ship Simsum sliced through the Pacific, carrying with it a boy, a family, a zoo's worth of animals, and dreams of a new life. The Patel family, proprietors of a zoo in Pondicherry, India, had decided to leave for Canada, hoping for a future beyond the constraints of their homeland. Their youngest son, Pi Patel, known as Pi, had spent his childhood immersed in the worlds of both zoology and religion, embracing Hinduism, Christianity, and Islam with equal devotion. But devotion could not hold back the waves of fate. One night, in the vast and indifferent waters of the Pacific, the sea rose in fury, and the Simsum was gone. Pi found himself alone, cast upon the sea, clinging to life in a small lifeboat, tossed between sky and ocean. But he was not truly alone. As dawn broke and the wreckage of his world drifted away, he saw the other survivors: a wounded zebra, its leg twisted unnaturally, an orangutan floating towards him on a raft of bananas, a hyena slinking with nervous, wild energy. And in the hidden recesses of the boat, unseen at first, a force of pure power and terror: a Bengal tiger, Richard Parker. The first days were chaos. Hunger and fear ruled the boat. The hyena wasted no time in revealing its nature, tearing into the zebra, feasting while Pi recoiled in horror. The orangutan, grieving and unsettled, tried to assert herself, but she too fell to the hyena's savagery. The lifeboat became a battlefield, a place where morality had no foothold. And then, from the shadow of the tarp, Richard Parker leapt, and the hyena was no more. A new order took hold. Pi, knowing he could not fight Richard Parker, chose another path: coexistence. He fashioned a makeshift raft, lashing together oars and life vests, putting distance between himself and the tiger. But distance was not survival. He needed food, water, shelter. And against all reason, he needed Richard Parker to live. The tiger's presence was the only thing keeping sharks at bay and despair from devouring him whole. Days turned to weeks, and the vast, unbroken blue became his world. He learned the ways of the sea, catching fish with bare hands, distilling water from solar stills, and offering the tiger his share of the catch. Through careful rituals, steady rations, and the sheer force of will, he tamed Richard Parker, or at least made himself less prey and more provider. He used whistle and eye contact, asserting dominance in a fragile balance that could collapse at any moment. But hunger gnawed at them both. The ocean, generous at times, could also be cruel. There were moments of bounty, of flying fish raining from the sky, of great dorados thrashing in his grasp. But there were also times of desperation, when the sea refused to give, when Pi felt his body withering, his mind unraveling. One day, his hunger won over his beliefs, and with trembling hands, he killed his first fish, crossing a threshold he had never imagined he would. Madness drifted on the horizon like a storm. Time lost meaning, the sky and water merging into one endless existence. One night, the sky exploded in phosphorescence, the ocean alive with luminous jellyfish, and Pi saw the great beast of the deep, a whale rising like a god, its silent mass vanishing into darkness as suddenly as it had come. Then land, or what seemed like land. An island of green floating in the middle of nowhere, its trees thick with fruit, its pools filled with fresh water. Pi stumbled onto shore, Richard Parker vanishing into the brush. He drank, he ate, he wept in relief. But the island had secrets. The pools, sweet by day, turned acidic at night. The very ground he walked on seemed to consume living things. He found a human tooth inside a fruit, the remains of someone who had come before. This was no paradise. It was a trap, a living thing that lured and devoured. He left, the sea once more his home, the tiger again his only company. Time slipped further. He was blind with starvation, his body nearly broken. One day, another voice called to him, a stranger adrift, a man as lost as he was. For a fleeting moment, there was hope, human connection after so long alone. But the man turned predator, his voice thick with the promise of violence. And before Pi could act, Richard Parker struck, and the stranger was no more. At last, the coast of Mexico appeared, shimmering like a mirage turned real. The boat scraped against land, and Pi collapsed onto solid earth, his ordeal at an end. He turned to Richard Parker, expecting a final moment, an acknowledgement, a farewell. But the tiger walked away without a glance, disappearing into the jungle as if the past 227 days had never been. Pi was found by locals, taken to a hospital, his tale one of wonder and disbelief. When Japanese investigators arrived, seeking answers about the shipwreck, they doubted his account. A tiger? A carnivorous island? Impossible. So Pi told another version, one without animals, without wonder, only humans, cruelty, and survival stripped of myth. And so, two versions existed side by side. One, a story of faith, resilience, and the untamed nature of the soul. The other, a grim reality of human nature, devoid of Richard Parker, devoid of gods and miracles. The investigators, faced with the choice, had only one question left. Which story do you prefer? If you loved this, don't stop here. Check out other books by Yann Martel. You'll find them below or on Celsius 233. Remember, while our summaries capture the essence, they can never replace the full experience of reading the book. If this summary intrigued you, consider diving into the complete story, buy the book, and immerse yourself in Yann Martel's original work. Bye-bye, take care, have fun.